Welcome
Welcome back to Kapuskasing.
Oh, Shelly, welcome back to Kapuskasing.
It feels good, buddy.
Does it really, though?
Ish,
Okay.
better than usual, Pots.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, and welcome to episode 4 of the Coast to Coast podcast. I am your host, Potts. This is my co-host, Shelly, and lead producer. And
that was Mosquito Mo.
yeah, we when we decided to make this episode poolside here on my deck, we didn't realize the time that we were
We're
doing
on
it at.
Potts' deck.
Yeah, I got a big deck. And
Do you trim the hedges around your deck?
no, I like them bushy. And we didn't realize that we live in Northern Ontario, and there's mosquitoes at this time of night. And so if you see us doing this, or if I do that to Shelly at one point, sorry, that means that there's been a mosquito that's going after us. So
Mosquito Joe.
Mosquito Joe.
I don't know. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment any further on Mosquito Joe.
No, there's no mosquitoes on the East Coast, by the way.
No?
No.
Well, there's probably too much.
Well,
rain
there's
because
some.
of is there?
There's some, but not really.
Not a lot.
No.
Nowhere near Kapuskasing.
No.
Nowhere near.
Hey, and fun fact of the day, Newfoundland does not have spruce bugs.
Okay. But the rest of the East Coast does?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see one, but maybe they don't.
I thought like everybody else had spruce bugs except Newfoundland.
Maybe.
The Rock.
The Rock. Yes, they can't get there.
They can't. It's too far.
It's too far. They can't travel over the water.
So we are very excited to be back. It's been a day. It's been a day since we had an episode.
It's been a day.
Well, it's been a few days, but
Yeah, it's been a while.
it's been a while. We had our last episode was after Game 7. We did a quick hit on the Stanley Cup Final. Talked a little bit about the game. Talked a little bit about what the future will hold for the two teams, and what the offseason will bring a little bit. Obviously, there's been a shitload of information, a shitload of stuff that's happened in the National Hockey League, free agency, a couple of trades. And we'll get into some of that, in the later segment. But that was the last time we did an episode, and here we are back on July. What is it today? 15th, 16th?
Yeah,
16th.
It's been like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I had to go find myself.
Yeah, and that's you know what, obviously, and I don't want to get any mushy here, but I'm really happy that you had the time, especially during everybody that knows what happened and everything. So I'm glad you had that time to kind of get away and work on whatever else you had to, whatever you needed to do for yourself. So
Self-care, man, it's important shit.
it is important, and like I said, I'm glad you're back, and I'm sad that you're leaving.
You got another month and a half of me, man.
Is it that much? Okay.
Is that too much?
No, it's not. Definitely not too much, because then I'm going to be really sad because it's going to be a long time.
Suck it up.
I am. So episode 4, as you can see at the top of the screen, is brought to you by Licour Motor Sales. Are you in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? Look no further than Licour Motor Sales in Kapuskasing and Hearst. Licour Motor Sales has a large selection of pre-owned units available for delivery today. At Licour Motor Sales, we don't only pride ourselves on customer service, we are customer service. Visit licourmotorsales.ca. Licour Motor Sales, big enough to serve you, small enough to care. Obviously, a company that
that was pretty good, Potts.
It was, and that was my first take.
That was like that was live off the floor.
It wasn't live.
Wow, it was like live-ish.
Yeah. So Licour Motor Sales.
That was like
my place of work. So.
Oh yeah, maybe that's why it's easy.
Maybe it was a little bit easier.
Yeah,
I've done a ton of videos that.
You know what? That was probably your best.
You think?
Up to date. So you got some work to do for the other sponsors. You can't make the Ford one the best one.
No, you're right.
So now moving forward.
Yeah.
When we bring back Golfly.
Yeah.
When we bring back.
Bing back.
When we bring back Project X.
Player X.
Yeah. Franchise. I'm sorry. Player X.
Yeah. And
what did I say?
Project X, which was a movie.
Oh, it's a movie.
Yeah,
That's why there was a confusion.
The open house party.
Right. Where the car went in the
pool.
The pool. Okay.
It's your turn now. What are we drinking today?
Oh yeah. So we are drinking today Full Beard Brewing Stupenda, or if you say it in an Italian accent.
Stupenda?
No, Italian accent.
Stupenda.
Perfect. Perfecto.
My brother-in-law's Italian, so I got to watch out when I try to make fun of Italian. Or not make fun of them, but impersonate Italians.
No, you're allowed to do voices.
Yeah, I know. But then he would think that when he talks about me, then I might try to laugh at me. So
everybody laughs at you.
Anyways, get back to the beer.
Okay. So we are drinking these Stupenda, which is Italian Pilsner. And it's absolutely delicious. Potts, take the first sip, buddy, and let me know. Give me some...
Got a mosquito here.
Oh,
hang on.
Extra protein.
Right, extra protein. Here we go. Oh, yes, it's cold. It's delicious. And, that's really good beer. Italian Pilsner. This is the first time I've ever had that kind of beer.
A Pilsner?
Italian Pilsner.
Italian Pilsner.
But I'm guessing it's probably same as a regular Pilsner, but...
like a steam whistle. But I think it's like... Yeah, I don't know what the difference is. We'll have to ask John. Or Stats Guy Zach.
Stats Guy Zach definitely will not know.
He won't know that.
The difference between an Italian Pilsner and a regular Pilsner is.
We'll post in the comments after we ask John about...
what is an Italian Pilsner?
We got to get John on the pod.
Yeah, that'll be... well, we're supposed to go... Hopefully we have time before you leave, but we're supposed to go do an episode at the brewery.
Yeah.
So hopefully we have time to go do that before, summer's out for school.
School's out.
You see what I did there?
For the summer.
I flipped that around there. So
yeah, that's good.
So cool. This is delicious. This is really good beer.
It is very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good to have you back, bud. Cheers. We're excited to be doing this podcast. Obviously,
together
we did, like I said, that quick hit, and we know what's coming in the fall when Sheldon does relocate to Iceland for the hockey season. That the podcast will be apart, and when the times that he does come at Christmas and
so on. They know Pots.
I know, but then we'll get back together, and then it'll be different. It'll be fun again.
But it won't be fun when we're not apart.
Well, not as fun.
No, but we'll still get to talk to each other.
Yeah, and we'll still get to talk about hockey, which is which is awesome. So, So talk to us a little bit before we jump into hockey.
Yeah,
I want to know a little bit about your trip.
Man.
I know you were gone for a long time.
I was gone for a long time.
We talked about you were going to the coaches' site conference. So let's start there.
Yeah,
Michigan University. How was that?
Michigan represent. Oh, this side. Michigan
Wolverines.
I went to Michigan for the coaches site conference. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit in our live pod. It was great. Learned a lot there, and then headed out east. So I went to Moncton, New Brunswick. Then I went to Halifax. Then I went to Cape Breton. Then I went to PEI, where I saw Guy, who we will be talking to next, and played some golf. I played some golf not in New Brunswick, but I played golf in
PEI
and Nova Scotia. And then I flew to the Rock, which is like the best place I've been to in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never been out west?
I've been out west.
And it's nicer than there?
I've been to every... No, I haven't been to every province. I haven't
been to BC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like BC's nice and everything like that, but it's just the culture that I really kind of fell in love with in Newfoundland. And like the whole Maritimes, really. But yeah, it was an awesome trip, man, and played a lot of golf, saw some people from Cap, and met some more friends along the way, and some I remember, some I don't. But no, beautiful
nice
part of our country.
That's good. And I think, we hear so many nice stories and about, and you seem to have caught a cold while you were away on your trip, so you can hear him sniffle.
Yeah, I think I got COVID.
Oh, don't say that. And I'm like, we're not 6 feet apart right now. We're like 6 inches apart.
6 inches is better than 3 inches.
So that's awesome. And like you said, we have, Stats Guy Zach, who went to school in Moncton, and he talked about how beautiful it was out there. They've been out to Nova Scotia. I have no doubt that it's beautiful, and I'd love to eventually one day take a trip out there when the time is right. Yeah, I know.
Like we're gonna golf trip.
I know. We just got to plan it. Got to get out there, time off, all that stuff. I'm not a school teacher or a hockey coach, so I don't get 3 months.
Maybe you should be.
I don't get 3 months off during the year.
Yeah. All good.
Well, I'm sorry, I do coach hockey, but certainly not enough to get paid while I'm off during the summertime. So
U9?
No, U11 next year.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Associate coach for U11.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. U9, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'll definitely be doing something. But we'll see. So that's good. And I think the last time, we didn't really do it. No, we talked about maybe doing a podcast, but when I was out in Toronto on that. But we went. Obviously, you could see my City Connect hat here. There you go.
Yeah, it's a nice hat.
City Connect. I went to see a Blue Jays game. Obviously, they sucked. Nothing
new there.
Nothing new there.
Let's just skip the Jays talk.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to go into it today because there's nothing positive.
I don't want to talk about Jays.
Okay, so we're just going to skip Jays.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say on the Jays.
Okay.
One thing. Something's got to change. Something's got like the players on the field. It is what it is. But something has to change with the culture. Something has to change with the vision. This team has done nothing since 2016. They've made the playoffs twice. They have 0 wins. And we're just kind of we're okay with being mediocre, which is something that's too common in Toronto, in all sports, just being okay, being mediocre. Don't be afraid to make a fucking move. Don't be afraid to do something to impact the team in a big way. That's what I'll say. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's what I'll say. Mm-hmm. And don't try to trade Bo now because he ain't worth anything. Because he's having probably the worst offensive season that he's ever going to have. So don't try to trade him now. It's not the time.
I'd keep him over Girouard.
Well, Vladdy's playing well. He's been hitting the ball. Yeah. He's been hitting the ball. He's playing in the All-Star game. He was a starter at the All-Star game, which is going on tonight. So, Vladdy. Anyways, we said we weren't going to talk Jays, but I would not trade them now. But I do think it's time for a culture shock within the clubhouse of some sort, whether it's manager, GM, president. They built this $400 million fucking super stadium that, and their on the field product is garbage.
Yeah.
So something's I am not going to pay $200 for another Jays ticket to go watch that.
No.
So something's got to change. Something has to change in that clubhouse. But yeah, got to see the Jays, got to do some golfing as well. Cobble Beach, man, that's a beautiful place.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's right on Georgian Bay.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice place to play some golf. So had a great trip and got back on vacation this week with the kids. It's living life, man. Living the dream, whatever the dream's supposed to look like.
You're living it, man. This is what it looks like.
Talking sports.
Talking sports.
So speaking of talking sports,
hey, let's talk about our backdrop here.
Oh yeah, look at this.
For the people that are listening on Spotify and Apple Music, just go to YouTube, check out the beauty of northeastern Ontario.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Look at the sky, the pool, the deck, the big deck behind you.
Joke's over, bots.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We may see a bear.
Wouldn't that be something?
And if we do, we'll try to
let you know.
We'll try to get him mic'd up.
He may even try to climb up on the deck here behind us here. So, obviously beautiful nights, and the bugs seem to have calmed down a little bit now.
Yep.
They were bad, and now they're not. So,
they're better.
They're better. And we're trying to wrap this all up before the lights come down on us. Which, whatever. If they do, if we get a little dark, we hope you still listen to us. Right, we'll try to throw a spotlight on Shelly or something.
We'll
make him look pretty.
We look better when it's all blacked out, anyways.
Well, I do, not you.
We have face for radio.
I was going to say something, but I'll keep it to myself.
Uh-oh.
So, the one thing, I mentioned this to you before we came on, but for the local hockey fans here, the Kapuskasing Flyers schedule came out, or hasn't really actually been released to the public yet, but I got it yesterday, and really happy to announce that the Flyers will be playing a home away from home, I guess, with the Timmins Majors in January, the 24th and 25th of January, in Moose Factory, Ontario, which will be really awesome.
That's awesome, man.
It'll be a really great experience for our players, for the residents.
Moose
of Moose
or Moose Factory?
Moose Factory,
awesome.
One of the island, yeah.
Good.
Chartered train. from Cochrane to Moosonee.
Okay.
Private, like just for the players and the coaching staff. And all that.
Why wouldn't they just jump on the regular one?
Well, I don't know if the regular one runs like every day.
Oh no, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, so I think we're going to be train, or we'll have obviously take the bus from Cap to Cochrane on Friday morning,
because you could take it there, but you couldn't take it back. That was the issue. I think that's
something
probably
like
the issue,
that.
because like Sunday you couldn't. There's no train.
No, we're coming back Saturday. So the Saturday game.
Saturday is no train.
Yeah, so they have a chartered train just for us.
Okay.
So cool. There's this Friday night game. I think it's at like 8 p.m. and then Saturday is like a 1 p.m. game.
My boy Brendan Biederman. Did he set that up or what?
I don't know who set it up. It was
he's a rec director, so yeah.
I want to say he probably played a role in that, but I think a gentleman from Timmins with the name of Doug Chichu, Dougie probably played a huge role in that as well.
Yeah,
getting all that set up. So that's really awesome. Obviously, there's going to be more dates that'll be released on the Flyers social media, home opener, and all that good stuff. But I just wanted to mention that because I thought obviously with the importance of our Indigenous players that come in from these areas and play for the Flyers and for the majors, both teams. It is super important to give back. So really excited to hit there right after Christmas in late January. So
no, it'll be really cool, and it'll be cool for the young players to see that caliber of hockey too.
Yes, yeah.
Because I've been up there. I ran a few camps.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, there's talent. There's talent up there, and now if they see the AAA hockey as a potential, and then it'll help our programs because we'll bring in that talent, and it'll let them experience something new.
Yeah, and it gives them kind of that mentality that I can be there one day.
Yeah,
right? I can play at that level one day if I work hard enough.
Yeah.
And I know the majors have, we've had players in the past from the area, and the majors do on their team. This year we have at this present time in Cap, we have one player from Saskatchewan, First Nations that is Saskatchewan, First Nations that is signed. Kessler Kusis will be a part of the Flyers goaltending tandem this year.
Right on.
So yeah, it'll be really special for those kids, but also for our Caucasian players and all other different cultures that you'll get to see that, which will be really I think will be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that I can make the trip up on the Friday with the team. I think that'll be a great experience even for myself. So just wanted to share that. Thought that little tidbit was kind of interesting and fun to talk about. So
such a welcoming community too. Like,
I
got a story. So
I've been there before, but many years ago, but I had been to Moose Factory before.
Anyways, there's a guy, and if you go up to Moose Factory, you're gonna meet him because he's just everywhere, and he's just the biggest beauty of all time.
You gonna give us his name or no?
Yeah, Charlie Chichu.
Okay.
So Charlie, I met the first time I went when I went with Fred Perrone from Hockey Without Borders, and we went and ran a camp in December. I think it was December right before COVID kind of became a thing.
Okay.
So we went up there.
Oh, I remember that. I was coaching with you with the Flyers, and you left for a couple days.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was my first experience in Moose Factory and running a camp there, and working with the kids there, and with Brendan, and working with Fred, and then so we met Charlie Chichu, and like I said, he's the biggest beauty in the world. So Charlie, we didn't know who he was, and so he comes up, he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" We're like, "Oh, we're running a hockey camp." I'm like, what are you talking about? And then after a while, he's like, no, just joking with you. Anyways, then that was our introduction to Charlie. And then anyways, but he was awesome. He brought us sledding. So he has this program for youth at risk that he takes them and enjoys the outdoors, brings them fishing, brings them hunting, takes them on sleds in the winter. So he took us up right to James Bay, and we went sledding on James Bay. I was like, Charlie, is this safe? He's like, that should be. God.
Yeah. The one thing I love about Indigenous people is they're just they're like no stress. Like life is just a gift and just enjoy it. And like, there's very, very little stress in those communities, which I really enjoy. So anyways, I'm looking forward to heading up there.
Absolutely. And one more Charlie story.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the last time I went with students from Cité des Jeunes.
Yep.
And he's like, come with me. And I was like, okay. So he's like, he brings me to the grocery store and he buys, he's like, what are your kids like? And he bought us, and obviously up there, grocery store, it's not cheap.
No, it's expensive. Yeah.
So he's like, what do they want? And I'm like, wow, we could take a few bags of chips and stuff. And he's like, then he grabs like 20, throws it in the basket and stuff. And like, I'm like, no, Charlie, our school board has money for this. Like, he's like, no, you come help us, we help you.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality. And it's just,
awesome.
It's just amazing, man.
Yeah.
Amazing person and amazing place. If ever you have the chance to go visit Moose Factory and Moosonee, I haven't really visited, but Moose Factory, amazing place.
Yeah. I was in Moosonee for a few days, but I was in Moose Factory for a full week. And just like, the teepees, and there's like, I know I'm going to say it wrong for the indigenous people that are listening, but like the bannock, I think it's the bread.
Yeah, bannock. Yeah.
Bannock?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's delicious. They cook it over like an open fire, and like it's just, I love it. I just love the culture, and really looking forward. And I'm hoping that our players will have the opportunity to kind of live some of that as well while they're up there. So, anyways, that's in late January, the 24th and 25th. Cap Flyers against the Timmins Majors, 2 games.
Such a good thing. I think like
Moose Factory.
I was talking to Brendan too, and like I'd still like to make this happen. About like I was trying to do like home and homes with our house teams.
Yeah.
In Kapuskasing.
Yeah,
so and all ages. Like one weekend we go up and we have like a little jamboree for all. Not I call it a jamboree, but like a little mini tournament.
Yeah.
And, and like have some fun there and play some games and
I don't know,
live some cultural experiences, and they come to Cap too, and then we do like a little.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I know they have what's called like A teams, like U18, U15A. I don't know how competitive they would be against some of our A teams, but it would still be fun to see the level of talent, because even just talking with I mentioned Kessler Kusi's, like even talking to his dad Henry, he mentioned like there was tons of players up in Saskatchewan that have skill. Mm-hmm. Enough to play AAA hockey even. Yeah. And it'd just be a question of getting them down here, or, getting them down to Kapuskasing to try out, or into Northern Ontario to try out. So anyways, looking forward to that. Like I said, just wanted to share that little tidbit. Staying with hockey, but into the NHL. There's obviously a ton of talk about, we won't be able to talk about it all tonight. But what for you, Shell, was the biggest headline coming out of free agency, coming out of, the draft, all those things that obviously we haven't had a chance to talk about? Well, you gotta, there you go. You get
what, did you get a thumbs up?
I got a thumbs up. I don't know what I did, but I got a little thumbs up that popped up on my face there. That's weird.
No, how come it doesn't work for me?
Doesn't work for you.
Oh, whatever.
Anyways, what's
biggest, biggest, okay.
Biggest headline for you coming out of the draft and the free agency?
Yeah. Well, it's got to be my boy.
Who's your boy?
My boy.
Who's your boy?
My boy, man. Steve.
Oh, yeah.
My boy, Steve.
Yeah. Stammer?
Steve Stammer.
Yeah. That
was
business. The business of hockey.
The business of hockey. The business of hockey. And just have a conversation. It just seemed like it was very business, and you gotta.
Yeah.
The guy's played for your team for how long?
I think he was there. I'm saying this wrong. That's probably,
take a guess. I'm
going
to say you after.
We'll get Stats Guy Zach on it, but I'm going to say 12 years.
Yeah.
I want to say 12 years because
I think it's over 10.
He's 34. Oh, it could be 16 years.
Whoa.
Well,
that's a big gap.
Well, I think he's 34 and he started in the league at 18. That would be 16 years.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's. My initial thought was 16, but then I was like, that seems like a lot.
Anyways, we'll circle back on that in the comments.
Stats Guy Zach, can you get on that for us, please?
Stats Guy Zach is on his way from North Bay.
Yeah,
he's late all the time.
Like my French people would say,
he might
Norby.
So
Stammer's gone.
Stammer's gone, man.
Going to the Preds.
Yeah.
Nashville.
Wow, yeah. That's a good place to play.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can't play in Florida, you want to play in Nashville.
Yeah. Music City, buddy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Nashville made a splash that day.
Yeah.
An absolute splash. Like Stammer, Marchessault, and Brady Shea.
Yeah.
All within like an hour.
It's good.
Yeah.
They'll be interesting to watch next year, man.
They could be. I still don't know who's going to play center for them, because they've got a bunch of wingers with Forsberg and Stamkos and Marchessault, and they've got some really solid defensemen. I don't know who's going to play center for them. They have Ryan O'Reilly right now as 1C, which he was 3C on the Leafs in a team that lost in the second round. So that
you
part
can't compare anything to the Leafs. They can't even win a playoff round.
I know it. Obviously, they have a little more depth at the wing. Anyways, yeah. What else? What else stood out to you?
Sergei.
Yeah, that was a big deal on draft day.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. I didn't even think that, Tampa basically said, we're taking Ryan McDonough over Mikhail Sergachev.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. McDonough, and no offense to Ryan McDonough, he's a great player, but he's near the end of his career.
Yeah, but I think they're probably, okay, are we making a push? Are we doing this for one more year? Or are we starting the rebuild? So I think that this kind of proved that.
Well, then they turn around and signed Jake Gensel for $9 million a year.
Yeah, but for how many years?
8?
Yeah. Well, then
7. 7.
Yeah. So I think that's a future, probably in 5 years or so, or 4 years, 5 years.
They're gonna buy that contract out.
No, they're going to be a competitor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, well, they still got Hedman. They still got Point. They still got Kucherov.
Yeah, and
they're still not a bad hockey team.
Those guys have years in them.
Oh yeah.
So so I think it's like a soft rebuild, not a hard one.
Yeah,
but a soft one.
It's what do they call it? A retool.
A flaccid.
What's a flaccid?
It's a flaccid rebuild.
What is a flaccid? Explain.
Well, I was talking about soft and hard, and then
Okay. So yeah, obvious, and you know what? There's been obviously, like we said, there over $1.2 billion was handed out on July 1st, which is a huge amount of money.
The cap went up.
Yeah, well, it did, but everybody's salary also went up, so that's insanity. Biggest thing for me, and you're gonna, everybody's gonna hate on me for even mentioning their name, but for me, it's the biggest surprise is the fact that the Leafs did nothing. They did nothing. They're essentially running it back for the 9th straight time. After Shanahan and Tree Living and the new CEO came out and said, we are going to look at any and all opportunities to make this team better. And what they did was add a 34-year-old Chris Tanev, which I absolutely love. I think he's going to be a great defenseman for the Leafs.
I like that.
Oliver Ekman, I got another thumbs up.
Another thumbs up. Thumbing all over the place, bud.
Oliver Ekman Larson, which will be probably a 5 or 6 guy, might help the power play.
Yep.
And change
5, 6,
and fire Sheldon Keefe to bring in Craig Berube.
Yep.
That was the culture shock that the Leafs took. After 9 years or 8 years of miserable playoff failures, that's what we felt was the best approach, was fire the coach and bring in two 34-year-old defensemen. So that's what we needed.
So Pots. If you had all the power in the Leafs organization, your general manager, your assistant GM, your head coach, your scouts, you're the president, you are whatever. What would be your top 3 moves that you would make?
The top 3 moves I would have made, or the top 3 moves I wouldn't have made?
Would.
Okay. Well, at this point, given the contract situation, I mean, Nylander signed, Matthews is signed, Tavares is signed for 1 more year. I certainly would look at trading Mitch Marner.
Why?
Because it's not, for me, it's not about I do, whether or not Mitch Marner makes our team better. Oh, you got a mosquito that just came in as a mic there. I heard that.
Did you guys hear that? That was Mo.
Whether Mitch Marner makes your team better or not, I'm okay with the fact of just taking maybe even a step back just to try to change something.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like, I honestly feel, and look, I'm a diehard Leafs fan. I'm going to cheer for them on day one. I'm going to cry when they lose in the 7th game of the first round again next year, because that's likely what's going to happen. It's happened for 8 years in a row now. Or, sorry, 7 out of 8 years. I'm a diehard Leafs fan. But for the sake of, I honestly feel like I'm going insane. I honestly feel like I've seen this movie 8 times in a row now, and I'm tired of watching the movie. Mm-hmm. Like, nothing is changing. Yeah. Mitch Marner goes away. He hides. He literally hides in the playoffs. Like, he'll back off from the physical play. He won't block a shot. He doesn't back check. Like, he just doesn't do anything good in the playoffs. Nothing is productive. He's not a playoff player. I love Austin Matthews. I love the guy. He had 69 goals last year. He could have scored 70. But honestly, that guy needs to find another gear in his game as well. Like, he had his 3-4 games where he was stuck at 69 and tried to get to 70. That was the most intensity I've seen in that guy in his entire career.
Okay, so Potts, I said, what moves would you make? You mentioned one. Now, then you went on a rant about.
Okay. So like, what moves would I make?
The like you were talking about Mitch Marner, and then you were talking about how he's not a playoff performer. I get it. So that number one would be move Mitch Marner.
Number one is attempt to move Mitch Marner. Okay. Look at making a move that makes sense to get rid of Mitch Marner.
Gotcha.
Number two. Yeah. Do not re-sign Mitch Marner. Okay, that would be my 2 things, because there we go. Holy Christ. Jeez, what's going on?
You're just creating some stuff.
I just got way too much energy right now, so that's the problem.
How come it doesn't work for me?
Might be the camera.
Maybe maybe you. No, it didn't work.
Anyways, it revolves around that. And the number one, and the third thing, and I love what they did with Joseph Wall. I think he's going to be the goalie of the future in Toronto if he can stay healthy. Okay. The third thing that I would do is I would look at trading Morgan Riley. I'm sorry. I love Morgan Riley as a player, but if he's the guy that you're depending on to be your number one defenseman, he ain't that guy. He is not a number one defenseman. He's never been in his entire career. And at the age he's at now, what is he at? Probably 33, 34 years old. He's not going to be that in the next 6 years of his career either. Mm-hmm. That's, to me, like Morgan Riley, like I said, looks like a great leader. I don't like the fact that he didn't come out and talk to the media after Game 7, but it is what it is. I'm not going to harp on him for that. But he's not the guy that's going to bring you to the next level. So trade Marner, don't re-sign Marner, and look at trading Riley. If you're asking me 3 things that I would have done as the Leafs GM, that's what I would have done.
Okay. That's okay. But kind of the first one, the first 2 are kind of one. Because if you do one of them, you can't do the other.
Well, then you can take the money that you gave Marner, and you can look. Like, honestly, I loved Todd. I called him Todd. I love Tyler Bertuzzi. I don't know why we lost Tyler Bertuzzi. Mm-hmm. I loved Max Domi, and I'm glad he's still a Leaf. Mm-hmm. Love Tyler Bertuzzi. Why is Tyler Bertuzzi not a Toronto Maple Leaf today? That irks me. Probably would have. Okay, you want to change it up? Trade Marner, re-sign Bertuzzi, trade Riley.
There you go.
Those are my 3 things. Mm-hmm. I hate the fact that Tyler Bertuzzi is gone to Chicago, of all places. Mm-hmm. I hate that.
Yep.
So, anyways,
it's yeah. Yep.
That's that's my Leafs rant.
So for the Toronto Maple Leafs,
yep.
It's like that movie Good Luck Chuck.
I've heard of it. I don't remember it though.
So like he's like
throw me a curveball here.
Yeah. So, it's with Jessica Alba and Dane Cook.
Okay.
And Dane Cook. So he sleeps with a girl, and then after that, he sleeps with that girl finds her future husband. Next.
Okay.
So he's like the good luck charm. So girls sleep with him to find their yeah. So I like to think of the Toronto Maple Leafs as Good Luck Chuck.
Yeah.
Because then it just seems like players that play here and then they have hell of a season.
Well, and I talk about Tyler Bertuzzi, okay? And I think Tyler Bertuzzi, and I think you'll agree with me, like, he gives me the same bad feelings about leaving Toronto that Zach Hyman did. Like, why did Kyle Dubas let Zach Hyman walk away? And look, nobody knew Zach Hyman was going to score 57 goals. Okay? Nobody knew that. But even if he scored 30, 25, call it 25. If he puts up 25 a year for the next 5 years, is he not worth $5.5 million? When you're paying Marner 11.25 and he wants a raise?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I said, pardon? He wants a raise?
Mm-hmm.
Buddy, Jake Gensel just signed for $9 million a year. He's a playoff player compared to you. You're not signing for more than 8 in my books.
Okay, leave Mitchie alone for a little bit.
No, I'm not. I'm pissed off at him, and I'm pissed off at myself that I have 2 Marner jerseys hanging in my closet right now. And I can't even wear them next year because I'm too mad at them. I'm mad at the Leafs. I'm I'm looking forward to the season, but I'm kind of not.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know. Hey, it's been a grind over the last.
It has.
Since 67. It's been a grind.
It has. Anyways, look, we do have a very special guest coming up. We'll get into some more stuff after our interview. But before we do that, I do want to get into our episode sponsors. So this week's episode is sponsored by LaCour Motor Sales. Are you in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? Look no further than LaCour Motor Sales in Kapuskasing and in Hearst. LaCour Motor Sales has a large selection of pre-owned units available for delivery today. At LaCour Motor Sales, we don't only pride ourselves on customer service, we are customer service. Visit lacourmotorsales.ca. LaCour Motor Sales, big enough to serve you, small enough to care. We have our special guests coming up next.
Woo!
So we'd like to welcome our guest into this week's podcast episode. A very special guest, especially for a lot of the local people here in Kapuskasing. Started his professional career in 1984 with the OHL's Hamilton Steelhawks back in the day. Played there for 4 seasons and then moved on to York University. Was there for 4 seasons before playing in the Central Hockey League with the Oklahoma City Blazers. Wrapped up his career in Europe playing for Germany, Rev Bremerhaven, if I'm announcing that correctly. I hope I am. And then in the early 2000s, moved back into the Central Hockey League to retire as an Oklahoma City Blazer. And also got involved in the game of coaching, coaching with the CIHA Voyagers for several seasons, being a scout with the Mississauga Steelheads in the OHL. And for the past, I believe it's 8 seasons now, Guy, with the Charlottetown Islanders of the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League. Welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Monsieur Guy Girouard.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Hopefully it didn't make you feel too old with that intro, Guy.
Oh, that's all right. It is what it is.
So first of all, I guess welcome and thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. As you can see, it's beautiful weather here in Kapuskasing. Sheldon and I are getting back together for our first episode, in a few weeks. I think he was down. You guys golfed together, I think, while he was away in PEI.
We did.
I don't know. I don't know if we would call it golf there, but
So really excited to have you and ask you a few questions about your playing career and a little bit about obviously your coaching and you're an associate coach with the Islanders and you also do some assistant manager duties. What is I guess my first question is, what is exactly your role as assistant general manager with the Islanders and associate coach? I mean, obviously associate coach, you're on the bench, you're coaching the team, but as an assistant general manager, what are your main responsibilities?
Well, a little bit, try to take some tasks away from the GM, because Jim Halton and GM, so he's dual role, so it's a lot on his plate. So whatever I can take off his plate, I like to do. I do a lot of the organizational stuff, all the paperwork stuff. So I book all the hotels, I book all the buses, I take care of all the meals when we're on the road. So, all that little stuff that, he's got a lot to do. He deals with the trades and he deals with the agents and the parents, and he deals more of the day-to-day stuff. And I just try to do all the planning and just to make sure that everything runs smoothly.
More of the
And then I
administration.
also part of the job is also to do some scouting and prepare our draft list and work for the draft. So kind of a jack of all trades, I guess you could say.
Okay, that's good. And I always wondered, as an assistant general manager, just how much are you involved with player personnel as far as roster create or roster formation and stuff like that. But I guess every team probably operates a little bit differently, but it's gives a little bit of insight as what an assistant general manager does with.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty fortunate here with Jim Halton. Like, he lets us have a say in almost everything. So he runs everything by myself and then the head scouts. So, we do. It's nice that it's not just not just behind the scenes or just kind of do the shitty jobs. He lets us do the good jobs too and have a say. And he really respects our decisions. So it's nice to feel like a big part of the team.
One thing for me, Guy, that I want to ask you, just in terms of the draft this year, just want to go through a little bit of kind of the kids that you drafted, and then and the import draft just happened a week ago or so. Just if you can go through your picks and just give a little insight into each player that you picked. I can pull it up on the screen here.
Yeah, so Lemieux Goupil, he's a big defenseman. He's been playing in Ontario the last couple of years. Physical, like we loved his interview. He doesn't pull any punches. He's a big physical defenseman. He doesn't give people any chances, and he's like a little bit of a throwback. We saw him at the Q Cup there in April, just before the draft in Blainville, and he really stood out. Like he's one that really looked for the one-on-one confrontations and made sure that he was winning the battles. He won his corner battles, net front battles. So we're excited. We're not sure. We have a lot of returning defensemen, but if anybody can make our team this year, it'd be him. He's working hard. He's in Belleville all summer, training there. So he's a very determined kid, focused kid. Comes from a big family. His parents have 4 natural children and 8 or 9 adopted children. So a kid that knows what hard work's all about. And we're excited. We're excited to see him in Island, New Jersey for sure.
Absolutely.
Our second pick is actually a player from the same area. So
did you know that beforehand, or?
Well, we knew he's from the same area, but we didn't know they were that close.
No,
so they were good friends and happy to see each other. So
okay.
that was kind of nice. It's hard to know a lot about all the players.
Right.
Like our regional scouts do a lot of the digging. They know a lot more of that stuff. And, we try to, the players that we kind of identify, we'll do some Zoom calls before the draft to try to get to know them better. And then at the draft, we also had a few one-on-one. Sometimes it's just nice. You get a different feeling when you're meeting a kid face to face, and sometimes you get to meet their families, so you can see the size of the parents. And it seems like hockey's trending back to big players. So that was one of our mandates this year, to get bigger. So Lemieux Goupil definitely answers that. Checks that box. And Pouliot as well. He's a big forward as well. We're excited to see him as well. Just the guys that he finds the back of the net. So we're again, probably not for next year, but nice to have in the system for sure.
Yeah.
If we keep going down, Rowan Walsh.
Let's go with one more. Yeah. Let's talk about the local kid.
Yeah, he's a local. He's a big kid. So his father played in the OHL. His family, athletic family. His mom was an athlete as well. So it's nice, for us, a little bit nice to have some local blood in the roster as well on the lineup. Create some excitement around the team, and then put some seats, some fans in the seats as well. So again, he's a project as well. He's going to be playing for the U18 here in Charlottetown. Okay. So we'll be able to keep a close eye on him and someone like that will get a chance to practice with us quite a bit as well. So we'll be able to follow his development really closely.
Oh, right on.
A little bit of I'm looking at your top guy, Emile Lemieux-Goupy. He played in Ontario this year for Barrie. What was the?
Yeah, he played the last 2 years. Yeah.
Okay.
So he was in, I believe, in Kingston the year before, and he's 6'3", about 195 right now. So
okay,
just a growing boy. So we're excited for that.
Did you play against Barrie at the OHL Cup?
That's why I'm just trying to connect the dots, but I don't remember. I mean, there were so many highly skilled players on that Barrie team this year that. I mean, I can't remember them all, obviously, but
yeah, it would have been hard to middle. He would have been probably I'm sure he would have been the most physical player on the ice.
Yeah,
we had talked to a lot of OHL scouts, and they all loved him, and they thought he would have been a high pick in the OHL as well. So
okay, that's interesting. I didn't know how the transfer got done there, but a kid from Quebec at such a young age. That obviously made the move to Ontario, to advance his hockey. And, I'm sure, like I said, a lot of great players on that Barrie team. And I'm sure he'll be a great player for you guys in the coming years as well. I want to kind of shift gears a little bit, Guy, and just kind of go back to, we talked in the intro a little bit about your playing career. You obviously played in the Ontario Hockey League for 4 seasons. And then you went to, it was, I guess, CIA back then. It was what's now known as U Sports with York University. And then, playing in a professional league in the Central League. Talk to me a little bit about the transition, I guess, from, playing university sports to going into, playing pro and then playing in Europe. How was that experience for you? I don't know how old you were back, in the early 90s when you would have played there, but how was the transition from going from, college hockey essentially to pro?
Well, to be honest with you, my last year at school, I didn't play the first half. I was kind of not too sure what I wanted to do, and I actually worked in a group home full time while going to school, and that kind of made me realize that maybe I wasn't ready to do the 9-to-5 job or get a real job for that. To be really honest, and so went back to playing hockey the second half. Had a really good second half, and then the Central League, which was a big league back in the 70s. Boston had their farm team in Oklahoma City, so there's a lot of Boston guys that played in Oklahoma City. So the league was starting up again after having folded for a few years, and they reached out to Graham Wise, actually another Cap connection. He's the main reason I went to York University, is because he was the coach there. I watched him play for the Cap A's growing up, and he was a bit of an idol for me. So it was a great connection to have there. And they reached out to him, and he said he probably had a few guys, and he told me I should go and try it. Like, nothing to lose, the new league. He had heard lots of good stuff about it back in his day. So I went there with an open mind, and just, trained hard to try to make a good impression, and then went down there, and, it was probably one of the best experiences of my life. We were playing in front of 13,000 almost every night. I remember we outdrew the Islanders and Hartford potentially the one year. Like, you were driving up to the rink and the people were lined up already, and especially in playoffs. So it was a 6-team league, not big rosters. You kind of had to do a little bit of everything. You had to show that you could handle yourself. By no means was I a tough guy, but I like to play physical. I like to hit, so I always had to back it up a little bit. So I did a little bit of fighting, and had a couple good years there. And unfortunately, when you're playing in those leagues, you're not signing the $1 million contracts. So one of my friends that I played with at York, really good friends, Michael Fuda, who's been in the NHL with the LA Kings, won 2 cups. Anyways, before his scouting days, he was playing over in Germany and was going to go to Denmark the following year, and the team wanted an offensive defenseman, so he recommended me. So again, I went with not really knowing much about Germany at the time, no big expectations, but that turned into a 6-year career. Came back, it was great. I always say I left Kappas Gazing pretty much a French guy. I learned English, learned German, so now I'm fluent in all three languages. So got a university education out of it. So hockey has been pretty good to me, and I still to this day I make a living in the game. So it's not really a job; it's a passion that I have, and I'm fortunate to be able to earn a living in this business.
And just for the people that are listening, when Guy says, when Germany was looking for an offensive defenseman in 1995-96. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Guy, on these stats, but 50 games played, 119 points. Is that correct?
That was my first year. We had two Polish guys there that had played in the Olympics, and basically, the one guy was unbelievable. Probably the best hands I've ever seen. Played with an old Titan, and it had to be really soft. You'd get the young guys to just take slap shots with it, so it was really whippy. He had a big curve on it, and basically on the power play, I just back then you didn't have the 1-3-1, but I'd line up on my 1T on the side, and he'd play the top, and I just try to find an open spot, and he'd find me, and half the goals I put into an empty net. So I owe a lot to Andre Hakula. That was his name. Didn't speak much English. Liked his beers, but he had really, really good hands.
And obviously, you guys had good chemistry on the ice as well. So,
yeah, we did somehow. Like the hockey language. We didn't talk much, but we could nod and wink at each other and just kind of draw little plays on the ice in the snow, and that's kind of how it went.
Figure it out. It's kind of like when I went to Iceland and I was coaching young kids, and you have to demonstrate everything because they can't understand English.
We had a Polish coach that first year, so he could talk to the player, but he didn't speak English, so he spoke a bit of German. So they went from Polish to German, and then one of the Germans would translate to me. So I'm sure a lot of it was lost in translation, but somehow we found a way to get it done.
There you go.
Absolutely. No, just talking about Iceland, and I want you to just talk about your experience in Germany, just because number one, I kind of want to see the European side of hockey and your kind of view on it, and like how you like the culture, how'd you like the hockey. Obviously, it was a little tough with the language and stuff like that at times, but just give me some insight into your time in Germany.
Yeah, so for Germany, for me, it was a great experience. I went there with open arms. Like, I didn't really have a lot of expectations. The town was about 130,000 people, so we were pretty much the biggest thing there. So we had great support. They set you up with an apartment and a car. So basically, the only thing you had to pay at the time, there was no cell phone, so you pay your phone bill or your internet, which was just starting to be a thing. You get pictures from home, would take 45 minutes to kind of download, so not like today. But anyways, it was a great experience. And the hockey was good. So basically, we had Mondays off. We practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And there was two Canadians and two Polish guys, and all the other guys worked or went to school. So we practiced at night. So it gave us a lot of time during the day. Just we'd go. There's a gym that we'd go work out at. Just walk around and discover the place. So, and then you play 2 games every week. So one's Friday, one's Sunday. One's home game, one's away, and the schedule is always the same. So that was kind of a lot easier on the body. And then you play Sunday, and then Monday's always off. So we go to our gym, and there'd be
it seems there is less games, and like in the queue, how many games do you play a year?
Yeah, we play. This year we'll play 64. We were 68. We're down to 64.
And say in Germany, how many games would you play a year?
It was about 48 games.
Okay,
so
and
it was a bit less, but Germany's, I don't know, maybe one of the countries that plays the most.
The most, yeah. I'm going to obviously Iceland next year, and the teams are playing maybe 2 games a month. I think it's not enough, but I guess with their Icelandic league, there's only 4 teams in that league, so they don't want to kind of create huge rivalries that are already there. But it seems like Europe just has lower like games in a season. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, but Germany kind of has three divisions, and I think there's like
Okay.
14 in each, and then there's relegation as well.
Okay.
So basically, for us, like the first half of the year, the first 2 months, you're playing Friday at home, Sunday on the road, and you go through the schedule, and then it just flip flops, and then so that's the opposite. So you're Friday on the road and Sunday at home. So the Friday home games were always fun. You always went out in town after, and that's kind of the big difference there. Like the rink that we played in didn't have plexiglass; it kind of had a fishnet around it.
Okay, yeah.
And after the games, the fans would just lift the net and they would stand around, and we'd go into the room and then put a different sponsored jersey on, and we go back out and high five the fans. And the first time is like they're wanting me to do shots and giving me beers, and I'm like, hey, what the hell's going on? And the other guys are like, no, like this is normal. So
Okay.
after a while, you kind of get into it, and being one of the imports, you kind of have to, you have to put on a bit of a show. So I'd get to one section and I'd chug a beer, and then the whole place would go crazy. So it kind of got to be a routine. But literally the first time when I got back to the room, I was like half in the bag. I'm like, oh, like, you just play like 35 minutes because you're on the ice all the time. You're drained. And so I learned that, drink a little bit of water before I went back out for the celebration round.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, like the lobby of the rink turned into a disco.
Oh man!
So we would get changed and go up, and like literally we walked from the dressing room to the lobby, and you basically walked on empty Beck's beer cans because it was just a big party. So you drink beers with the fans, and that's kind of the difference. Like they're not so big on autographs; they just want to have a beer with you and talk to you. And you meet these fans in the city during the week, and they don't speak a word of English, and then you meet them after the game Friday after 5-6 beers, and they're speaking perfect English to you. So that was kind of a funny situation. But so I had a lot of time, and I injured my knee in February in the first year, and I had surgery, and then I was in the hospital, didn't know what the hell they were doing to me, and so then the team signed me for 2 more years, and that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to learn the language. And at the time, I just bought a couple of little dictionaries, and I had one in my car, one in my apartment, one at the rink, and I just kind of, made people laugh and made a fool of myself sometimes. But eventually, I was spitting out sentences, and so by the end of by the beginning of my second year, I was captain of the team. So I was good enough to talk to the refs and a little bit talking to the media, a little bit of media that we had. So, and then it just snowballed from there.
How do you say shake your butt, ref? Your eyeballs stuck in German.
Yeah. I had to be nice. I didn't learn the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Just want to
and then the team did well, and we moved up to the first division. So with that, then you get better players and more Canadians, and eventually the EU came in, and you're allowed 2 imports and 4 EU players. So you had a lot of players that had European descent. So one year we had like 12 Canadians or Americans on the team because some of them married a German girl and then got their passport, so didn't play as an import anymore. And that's how the better teams get better, is because they get more Canadians that have passports.
Right.
I do want to talk. I know that especially for the local people here, Kapuskasing, Northern Ontario, I know that you guys have had in Charlottetown over the past couple of, or I guess it hasn't been a couple anymore. It's been a few years that you had some local talent up in Charlottetown. Number one, obviously Kapuskasing native Brendan Clavel, which we had on our podcast in our very first episode, who ended up being your captain in his final year. And then more recently, a couple of years ago, you guys had Ryan Maynard as well from Cochrane, who was an ex-Cap Flyer. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came about for those two players, and then also just what they were able to bring and what those, like, I know that you're a Northern Ontario, you're Northern Ontario born, and you know what the Northern players bring, but what did those two guys in particular bring to your program, for the betterment of the team and what they were able to bring for leadership and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, the good thing with them is like, well, Brennan, I knew his parents, so I was, they're around my age group, so I knew, his mom and dad, both great athletes, really good people. So first and foremost, we want to have good people. So we do our research. I didn't have to do much research on Klaus, but he ended up being great. He came here, worked his butt off. He's working before, after practice. A good student, really, really found his way in no time and started contributing. Uh, Brennan really hard on himself, so had to work on him on his confidence a lot. Just that, just because he wants to do so well. Um, but he really figured it out. Did a great job, and like you said, ended up being one of our captains here. And you know, uh, people love PI, and Brennan's no different. He loves the Maritimes. He's going back to Ottawa U this year to do his masters. But when we go to Cape Breton, we would stop in Antigonish, Nova Scotia, where Brennan went to school at St. FX. And almost every time, it's a small town, so we'd run into Brennan somewhere along the way when we practiced there. Sometimes we're just even picking up a meal. And last time he was walking by with a coffee going to the rink. So it was great to have a little bit of a conversation with him. And, I think he comes back to the country concerts most years when he can. So,
Cavendish.
Yeah. So Brandon was a great addition, fit right in, helped us. We had one year where we upset a couple teams and made it almost to the league final. So he was a big part of that. And then Ryan came in and gave us a couple good years as well. I had done my homework. I had seen him play actually in LeBay and Chicoutimi. I had met with Ryan, talked to Sheldon about him quite a bit. So I knew he was a good kid as well. Like I said, we really want to have good people. We think that makes for that's one of the mandates that we have. We get our scouts to do a lot of research, talk to whoever they can to make sure that we're getting good people. We want good hockey players, obviously, but we want people that'll fit into our program, that have a good work ethic, and both those players fit right in.
That's awesome, and I know that for us, especially, having those players as alumni of the Flyers, and I had the pleasure of coaching both those guys, with Sheldon, and just I know when you say they're good people, and that's the number one thing that you want is good people, and I'm really happy that they were able to contribute to your team. And I think the year you guys had Ryan, his last year, I think you guys had a really solid team. I think you guys lost in the league final that year, if I'm not mistaken. So,
yeah, no, he was good. Like the problem with Ryan is he donated his body to the cause, and
yeah,
he just wasn't. He wasn't. His body wasn't able to withstand that. He missed all of last year because of two surgeries. So,
oh yeah, yeah.
he would. I mean, he was a great kid. Like he would block. He was on the PK, would block shots in practice, and would do the same in games, obviously. But most guys shy away in Flamingo in practice, but he never did that. So he was. We were always after him. Like, he would just make plays, and there's taking hits to make plays, but sometimes he would really put himself in bad situations. So that says a lot about him when we had to tell him all the time, you don't need to take that hit. Like he can dish the puck off or just get rid of it, but he really wanted to make that perfect play and at all costs. So,
and like he talking about Maynard too, and obviously he was so dominant in midget AAA hockey, and then and I think that's one thing with that jump from midget AAA to say major junior. It's always that big jump and that little adjustment, because I know first year he had a little bit of adjusting to do, and then his second year he was ready, he was used to the speed and stuff like that. What would you like, and this is just shooting the shit, but like what would you think would be the best route, or you can say two or whatever it may be, to try to make it to major junior hockey?
Well, that's really it's impossible to answer that question because every player is different. Everybody develops differently. Some kids can handle being away from home. Some kids can't handle that. Like there's so many factors involved, and I think as long as you're working on yourself, where you're playing usually doesn't matter anymore because with technology, I'm here in Charlottetown and you're getting a hold of me all the time. Hey, you gotta look at this kid. You gotta get some eyes on this kid. And, we have scouts everywhere. You guys are playing in tournaments all over the place. So gone are the days where a player flies under the radar. But I think the best situation where a player can, can do his schooling, because that's a very important part of it as well. Because we produce a lot more professionals in the workforce than we do professionals in hockey. So it's a really important component in the Quebec League. Players have to go to school, so he's got to be comfortable with that, and then wherever he can develop. So get on the ice. What kind of coaching he has, if there's some development, if there's some skill development aspect to the practices he has. So it's hard to say. Like, a lot of players leave home too early, and then things turn bad. We've all seen players do that. So, sometimes the long route is better, or even if you're just playing major junior at 18 or 19, it's not that bad of a thing, because there's not a lot of young guys that have impact at 16 and 17 in our league. So when we draft players, we draft them for their 18, 19-year-old year. They're playing against their peers, and usually when they succeed in Bantam and midget, then they can do the same in junior.
Right. Well, that's a pretty good fucking answer for not being able to answer that question. No, and in the Q2, it just seems like the turnaround, it's always a new team every couple of years that end up kind of stacking up and making a push for it. So just go through that process of kind of the rebuild to going for a championship, and then realizing we're losing all these players, we're going to start our rebuild. And it's going to look like a 2-year rebuild. It's going to look like a 5-year rebuild. So just go through that process.
Well, part of it, you kind of have to crash and finish low in the standings to get a really good draft pick, to get a really good player, and then you kind of build around that player. And then you might get lucky. You might get 2 or 3 years out of that player if some of the other players mature a little bit sooner. Like, for example, we had Lucas Cormier, we drafted 4th overall. So we knew that he was a special player and that we were trying to build a team around him for his 19-year-old year.
Right.
So, the years leading up to that, you try to sell off any assets that you have at Christmas, because that's when teams load up. And you try to get some draft picks or some good young players that are in that same age group, right? So right now we're building for our 07s and our 08s, or 06, 07, sorry. So if we can find a quality 06, 07, we'll try to get them. If not, we'll get some draft picks. So moving forward, we have all our draft picks. So if we think we're close to it at Christmas, we'll have some currency to go get some players. So that's kind of how you do. And then, you sell off your old players to get draft picks. And then the year that you're going for it, you usually have some really good 19-year-olds that'll be good 20-year-olds in the league. So then you bank on being able to reload with those guys the following year.
How many
what happened with us? You're allowed 3 20-year-olds.
3, yeah. Okay.
So the year after Cormier, our rebuild has been a little bit longer because we had 2 players that made pro that we had deals for, moving them within our league to get, to recoup some of our draft picks. So that set us back a little bit. So instead of sending those guys and getting draft picks and still having some good players, we had to trade those 3rd and 4th players down the list. And that kind of set us back a little bit, but we're back on our feet now. We're in a good position, and we're looking to make a run here the next couple of years.
I always find it intriguing, like as Sheldon said, there is a little bit of turnover, and you always have certain teams. I look, here in Ontario, the Londons are always kind of, in the mix, and they've, I
think that's like big market teams and small market teams.
Like Quebec is probably no different in the queue, right? Like the Ramparts are probably
but they have to go through their tough years as well. Like there used to be teams would trade players. They all be good 1 year, then they trade to the next team, and like now there's a little bit more of a system in place, and we also have compensation now for our first round pick. So if you pick a first rounder and he doesn't report to camp, then you get a compensation pick. Plus, you get that pick back the next year.
Okay. Oh, is that right? That's interesting.
So that helps a little bit. But the idea is to have multiples. And Shigudumi had 4 picks the 1 year in the first round, so they took some swings. And if you can end up convincing them to come to the league, then a lot of players will say they're going to go NCAA. They won't come. So when you have multiples, you can take a chance on a player, and if you can't convince them to play, then you'll get that pick back the following year plus another pick. So,
last question from me, Guy. I just want to know what is the potential impact that you mentioned? NCAA. What's the potential impact of this new agreement between the CHL and the NCAA? How is it going to affect the CHL teams in a negative or in a positive way, if it is at all?
Yeah, that's a great question. Nobody really knows that. I was on a panel a couple weeks ago. There was a guy from the BCHL, a couple guys from our league, and nobody really knew what impact it would have. So it's going to be a new landscape, something new that we're dealing with. So it's going to be an interesting problem to have, because then the players can still come to us early, and then if it doesn't work to go to the NHL early, then they can further their development at NCAA. We think, but we don't know if there's going to be any restrictions, or it's hard to say. But it's definitely going to make it interesting, and it's going to ruffle some feathers, going to change some strategies a little bit, and whoever can find the loopholes or adapt the quickest is going to have some success early on.
Looking forward to
it. Because there's not a lot of 17, 18-year-olds that can have an impact at NCAA.
No.
You would think that players would stick with us first, but then the NCAA may become a younger league as well, which is something that we don't know until it happens. So.
That's right.
Hockey aside, Guy, you moved out east, and I've been out east for the last month or so. Visiting the Maritimes, my second home. I absolutely love that place. What is your favorite part about the East Coast, or favorite parts?
Yeah, I mean, I just like I compare it a lot to Kapuskasing. Charlottetown is there's about 45,000 people here. There's 186, I think, on the whole island. So it's everybody still says hello and still waves to each other, and God forbid there's 4 cars that get to a 4-way stop at the same time, because everybody's trying to let everybody go.
Yeah.
Even at the RCMP one time, tweeted out that stop being so nice and letting people through, because it's causing accidents, just drive the normal way. But people are so nice here. People are friendly. And then, I love to play golf. So hockey in the winter, I get to enjoy my summers here. The weather's great. There's tons of great golf courses, as you saw a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, for sure.
There's always something going on. Charlottetown, we have cruise ships that land here. There's 2 of them here today, so it creates a buzz around town. The college has a culinary institute, so a lot of the chefs come here to study, and they fall in love with it, and they end up staying here. So there's tons of great restaurants. So I could go on, but basically it's the people and the friendliness of everybody around here that what makes it a great place to live.
Absolutely. Golf trip 2025, Potts, or what?
It's definitely something I'd like to get out and visit at one point. I've never been, so
you won't regret it. I guarantee you.
No, everybody says the same thing, and obviously Sheldon was just there, so he talked to me a little bit about it, and then I've had other people that have obviously have close friends with guy.
Yeah. Luke Sinema is getting married this weekend, and he's on his honeymoon. He's going to stop here for a few days. So
really? Okay.
A couple golf game planned for sure. So
nice.
It'll be good to catch up with him. Never a dull moment with him.
No, not with Stobes. Not with Stobes.
Actually, when we play in Rouen around Luke and Michel Labelle, who's now one of the big judges around in the north, they always come down for one night, and we go back and tell a lot of old stories, and
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I spent one night with you guys in
late
Rouen.
Late night for everybody.
I spent one night with you guys in Rouen a few years ago when Maynard was there. We went to go watch him play, and the next day was a painful one.
Well, even when Klaus was playing the 1 year, we took over the cash there, I think we had most of the places were people from Kapuskasing, so that was a good time as well.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, again, Guy, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us tonight. A lot of great insight, a lot of great stories, and we're looking forward. Hopefully, you'll be interested in coming back on the podcast as your season gets rolling into September, October, and you guys get ready, down the stretch to kind of hopefully make a run for a QMJHL title here. So again, thanks for joining us, and best of luck in the upcoming season.
All right, thanks guys. Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Thanks.
See you later.
Take care.
And we're back. So that was an awesome interview with Guy. Like I said, I was golfing with him this summer in Charlottetown, beautiful Maritimes. Beautiful part of the country. I know I said that already in this pod, but I'll say it again. But it's always fun talking hockey with Guy, and like I was picking his brain when I was there and just talking to him about coaching strategies. We didn't get much into that in the pod, but we just talked about hockey, man. And like he's a good hockey mind. He knows his stuff, and he's played the game. He's coached the game at a high level. Very down to earth, very easy to talk to, and like I ask him questions all the time. He's kind of like a little mentor to me.
Yeah, and I know that you know him on a personal level. You've known him on a personal level for several years, so it's good. You always need that mentor. You're, just kind of like you are to me, bud. Like honestly, honestly, it's true. You and Glenn, honestly, before I got into coaching, like I don't want to say I knew nothing about the game, because I certainly was a huge fan of the game. But as far as like the technical aspect, the coaching aspect of the game, like Glenn Denny, I started with him being involved with the Flyers, and then I kind of just kind of mixed in a little bit of both of your coaching styles. Yeah. In my coaching style, because that's kind of the way that I was kind of brought up to coach. So everybody needs a mentor that you can kind of go back on and rely on. And I remember last year when I was, or I guess it's been 2 years now, but 2 years ago when I was coaching the Flyers, there was aspects of my game, not my game, but my team's game, that I didn't like. Some of it was skill, some of them was systems. I asked you to come on a few times for the skill stuff, and I had several conversations with a good buddy of ours, Pat Miette, who's another great coach, former coach, head coach of the Flyers as well. And he gave me his perspective on, just little things like how we can break out more effectively in a small rink like we have in Cap, or how to run sometimes like in the like for the life of me.
Oof, you had trouble with that one, eh?
No, it's just it's just frustrating because like we have had so many skilled players with the Flyers through the years, and the one thing that we never had was a really good power play. And I date back to, like, honestly, with the Sports Palace, the way it's set up, probably the best power plays is just a shooting, like just a barrage of shots on net.
Cap, yeah. But then when I know when you get to other rinks, and then the kids have time, and they're like, I'm not used to this, so I don't know what to do with the puck. Like I'll just shoot it on net. But like, so it was to a point, I think, when I was coaching, I'm having a hard time with my hat here.
Well, the mosquitoes are all over us now.
I know.
They came back out again here.
It's tough. It's a grind. It's a grind. No, I was coaching with Glenn, and we actually ran, in our practice, we ran power play in the neutral zone with a net on the boards, like on the red line, like facing the stands. So then so it was wider. Yeah. And you had right to the back boards. Okay. So then you had 80 feet, which is still not enough.
No,
but at least you had the width. You had the width, right? So then, anyways, we did that. So it allowed just more skill to be shown there, and you had a little bit more time with the puck and stuff. So then, actually, that translated pretty well. So we had to figure shit out, but anyways. That was that.
Yeah. Anyways, I just think that it's like going back to the whole Guy thing. I think it is important to have some kind of a mentor, to kind of not rely on, but to go back on if you have any questions and all that. So any young coach that's looking at getting involved in the game, I certainly would encourage, and I would also encourage all coaches to not be afraid to reach out to buddies, mentors, whoever, other coaches. In the game of hockey, to me, is like just coaches bouncing ideas off of each other all the time.
Yeah.
Like the guys in the National Hockey League probably
it's
just
R&D, baby. Rob and duplicate.
Yeah,
like
you're
know,
right.
like
You're absolutely right. Like,
rob what you like.
Yeah.
Add it to your style of coaching, and you know, like, but like, yeah, people who start coaching, like we've been coaching for a little bit now, and I won't say I'm a veteran coach because you know what, I'm obviously still learning and will always be learning because I think that's kind of the definition of a good coach. You always want to be learning. You always want to be getting better. But yeah, like when I started too, it's just like, okay, I know this. I'm good. You know, like you know everything, right? Yeah. So no, we're not going to do it that way. Yeah, we're going to do it my way, you know? Like, and so then you're not open to too much stuff. And I went through that, and then you start to realize, okay, be more open and like actually, you know, you're the guy and having to make the hard decisions, but you know, you got to be open to different views, and I had trouble with that. But now I'm a lot better.
Yeah. Anyways, I just think it, you know,
sorry, buddy.
Coaching is such a, you know, an important part of the game, obviously. And look, I don't think that coaches go out there and win game sevens for you, but I do think that they can help lead you to, you know, situations where you either avoid a game seven, or they prepare you to be ready for the moment in that game seven. So, you know, and
coaches make players play at their full potential. Good coaches do.
Yeah. Anyways, could have hit a segue, but it is what it is. Look at
well, you know, there's another guy I really look up to, but we can't talk about him right now.
We can't talk about that guy. Maybe in future podcasts we'll be able to.
Excuse me.
You good there, bud?
COVID.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. So.
Sorry, guys.
I forgot my train of thought now. I don't know where I was going because all this coughing.
Just coughing up a lung there.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's you know, we like I said, we kind of talked a little bit about the National Hockey League. Talked a little bit about the Blue Jays. The Open Championship is this weekend.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah.
Did you hear what was it Morikawa or no Colin what he said about Tiger?
No.
So, I forget his name. So now you can chirp me for not remembering this golfer's name.
Well, you said Morikawa.
No, it wasn't Morikawa.
Okay.
It was Colin something.
Okay.
Or it started with the C anyway.
Okay.
First name, but anyway, so he told the media, he mentioned that Tiger should retire. And then, so when Tiger got addressed by the media regarding that comment, he's like, well, I don't know if he knows this, but as a past champion, I am allowed to play until I'm 60 years old.
Yeah. And
that'll be my decision.
Yeah.
So
Jack Nicklaus did it forever, man.
He just, you know, like, and he's absolutely right. Like, but I don't know who has the balls. I think he just wants the press, probably.
Yeah, probably
to say something about Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tiger, he's like, oh, you know what? Come at me, bro.
Yeah.
It was good. It was fun.
There's something that tells me, and I was listening to the media today and talking about different things. Something tells me that, like, it's not going to be this week. I don't think it's probably going to be at the Masters because I think that's the least demanding of the courses that they play at when it comes to, or at least it's the course that Tiger's more comfortable at.
Okay.
But I think that Tiger can win one more major.
You think so? I think
he's got one more in him.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I think I agree just because I want to.
Yeah.
I want it to happen.
Well, I want it to happen as well. That's why I believe in it.
Yeah.
But his body is broken down hardcore, man.
Yeah,
His body is.
But hey, man, if it comes together on one weekend, you know, it's just got to come together. Like sometimes you're in the zone, man, and then you're just like, okay,
yeah.
Like then you're in tunnel, you have tunnel vision, and you're just ready to go.
Yeah, I just feel like Augusta is probably the course that Tiger knows how to navigate, and what's the word I'm looking for? Like when you manipulate. He could probably manipulate Augusta more than any other course that they would play a major championship, because the other three, they kind of like, they don't always play at St. Andrews for the Open Championship, right? It kind of rotates. Like it's not always the same course. They don't always play the U.S. Open at Bethpage Black. Like they kind of rotate it, right? So, but Augusta is Augusta. Like he can go there and play all the time at Augusta and kind of learn to manipulate the course a little bit more.
Speaking of golf courses,
yep,
I played the most unbelievable golf course in the world.
In the world?
Well, I don't know. I can't really say that, but like this place is absolutely unbelievable. In Cabot Cliffs, I think it's rated number 1 in Canada.
In Canada, yeah.
But like just the difficulty, the scenes, like just everything was just beautiful, man. It was absolutely crazy. So I'll show you a picture here, Potsy boy. So this right here is Cabot Cliffs. Yep. That was par 3. You hit it too far, you're in the ocean, man.
You're in the water.
You're in the water, man.
You're in the water. So,
funny story about that golf round. So I was playing alone. I booked the tee time, but then I was like, okay, there's guys that are going to join me, so I won't be completely alone. I ended up being alone, but it was all right. Like I went early in the morning, and and just had some me time.
Yep.
And hacked away on this golf course. But then at one point I was following 4 guys, and then they were letting me through, so they were on both sides of the fairway, and one side was ocean, and then one side was just bush, or that long grass that you see there. So anyways, setting up to drive, I'm like, okay, please just put this in the middle. Like, just put this in the middle, please. I duck hook it.
Oh, a boy.
Like over the guys' heads into the ocean. So that was my drive. So then I was like, okay, well, I'll go over there, and I'm not going to re-tee because they're waiting for me. So anyways, I just dropped the ball there, and then there's a big cliff right in front of the green. I duffed my next shot down the cliff. I was like, here we go again. And then finally I put it on the green. I'm like, oof. It's a rough one, boys. I was like, thanks for letting me through. I might be slower than you guys still. So that was a good, I think I got a triple on that one. Anyways, but
those are rare for you though, triples. Like you don't get those too often.
No, but I shot 88, which I was happy.
Where'd you play? Like you didn't play from the tips, obviously. You probably played from the.
I played from one back from the tips, and okay. I shouldn't have played that far.
It was too far.
Yeah.
What was the total yardage? Did you remember? Like 3,400?
No, more than that.
More than that?
More than that.
See, where I played at Cobble Beach, it was 3,200.
3,200.
3,200, but they have. Because of where my handicap is, they have like what they call hybrid T blocks.
Boxes.
Boxes.
Boxes. Yeah, boxes. T blocks or T boxes, man. T-box. Choose one of the two, buddy.
Anyways, so if they
check out this place, man.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's
that
awesome.
was that par 3 that I was showing you. Or no, that was another par 3.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Anyways, beautiful place.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that's. I'm glad that that's. I wish I would have kind of got to play it with you, but.
East Coast golf trip, 2025. I'm going, man. I'm going to the East Coast again.
I'm sure you are.
I'm gonna go for 2 weeks because, I'm gonna go see the Nano boys. Hey, so little announcement.
Oh,
we're gonna have a new segment.
Oh,
on the pod.
Oh, you're breaking news to me as well.
Yeah, I didn't talk to Potts about this. I kind of went rogue. But Drew and Riley, Nano, they live in Corner Brook. They're from Cap as well, and they had a radio show, a sports radio show, in Corner Brook. So we're gonna collab. We're gonna collab on a little segment. So we'll have every pod. We'll have a little 15 minutes or so with Drew and Ryan. We'll just shoot the shit and talk sports a little bit. And they're big Leaf fans too, so we'll have some fun. Potts doesn't know those guys, so you get to meet them. And
the Nattles?
Do you know them?
Oh, like come on, I know the Nattles. Played baseball with them. Played hockey with them. Yeah, come on.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the Nattles.
Okay, never mind.
Andrew and
Andrew. Are you serious?
No, Drew and Riley. Of course I know them. No, of course I know the Nattles brothers. No.
Andrew and Ryan.
Andrew and Ryan Natto. Yeah. son of John.
Joseph.
John.
Well, I think his name is actually Joseph.
Yeah, I know
Joey.
it is Joseph. Joey and Tish. Yeah. Local business owners. Got to get them to sponsor an episode.
Yeah, man. Sponsored by Nattle's Jewelry.
Yeah.
That'd have a good ring to it.
Yeah.
The Nattle segment sponsored by Nattle's Jewelry.
Yeah, that would be it has to be. It
has to be. That's a done thing.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's all. I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad you just broke that news to me.
Yeah, man, and it'll be fun. We'll get some insight into the hockey on the Rock, man. It's big.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Like Senior A hockey on the Rock.
What was the?
Is big.
The Growlers. They were in the ECHL. I think they folded this year, though.
Yeah, they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, St. John's doesn't have a team anymore,
which
is unfortunate, man. And I was talking to Girouard about this, and obviously we'll wrap this up, but more of the hockey's on the West Coast, like Corner Brook and everything like that around there.
Is that where they are? Corner Brook? Okay.
So they played in Porto Basque, and they were getting 6,000 fans per game
for senior hockey.
Yeah. And there's lineups outside and shit like that. It's a scene, and St. John's just doesn't have it. But I think I don't know, with the right management, you can make that work. But I think travel is a little issue.
Yeah, and I'm sure it would be well, mind you, if you have 6,000 fans.
Look at the hair, man. I'm having some issues here.
You need a haircut, buddy.
The bugs are getting into it.
I could see it. I don't know if you guys can see it on your camera.
Pot said earlier in our interview that the bugs were subsiding. They are not.
Well, they were, but now they're back.
Man, you're shiny. You're all beautiful. You're
I think it's
light.
I got a huge. Well, you need to brighten that up.
If I brighten this up,
I think that'll help. I've got my laptop is just in front of me.
Oh, hey,
there you go. See,
man, we're good to do an evening session, bud.
Let's do it.
Hey,
let's do it.
Are we gonna keep talking? No, no one wants to hear that shit.
Yeah, nobody wants to just hear us talk about nothing.
No,
a little bit of nothingness.
Nothingness.
So yeah, we're gonna keep monitoring all things National Hockey League, all things MLB. Probably going to talk about in the next couple of podcasts, kind of just do some little predictions. Talk about some of obviously the Canadian teams, where we see them in the future, or next season, I guess, in the future.
And me and Potts were talking too. We're gonna get the fans involved too. Everybody who watches the pod.
We gotta get you guys involved.
Yeah, we're gonna have some back and forth happening. Whether it's questions, whether it's all that kind of stuff. We'll have some fun.
Yeah, it's the
a question period. We'll talk.
It's the dead season in the hockey in the NHL.
Yeah,
but there's still lots to talk about.
No, and we have fun. I mean,
even if we talk about
when you talk you do that. Yeah. That means you're lying. No, but we do have fun though.
Anyways, we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yep.
We will get another episode out next week, next week.
Yeah. So this it's Wednesday today because this episode's coming out Wednesday.
Yep.
We're recording this Tuesday. Friday night golf course.
Yeah, you're playing there with your buddy Corey,
Mr. Corey Olfer. If
Yep.
anybody in Kapuskasing and area wants to see some live music,
yep.
I
won't be there. I won't be there because I'm heading.
We'll
to
have a fat guy and Corey.
Yeah,
Corey.
Corey's not fat. He's in good shape.
I think so. Yeah,
keeps himself in shape.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna play some music, man. We're gonna play probably 8:30 till. We'll see.
8:30 till we'll see. And it's couples night, so you'll probably get a good audience.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Couples nights are always a lot of fun. So.
Yep. Are you playing?
No, I just said I'm gone.
Family
reunion.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm glad you listen to me when I talk.
I don't listen to you.
That's I know I saw that you were playing there on Friday, and then we'll record our next episode on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we'll have an episode out early next week, which we're really excited about. And,
yes.
Stay tuned. We're not going to get into it. We're not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it.
I am so nervous.
But here's what we're going to say.
No.
Now, let me say one thing.
Okay.
It will be our biggest episode of the 5. It may be our biggest episode ever, but it'll be our biggest episode of the 5. Stay tuned for who our special guest is going to be. Watch the episode on Monday. It's going to be a blast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you to Full Beard Brewing. Oh, there it is again.
I don't know how you always get the fun stuff and I don't get nothing. Brutal.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Thank you to Full Beard Brewing Company for official beer of the Coast to Coast podcast. Cheers.
Italian Pilsner, buddy.
Yeah, that was a delicious
Go
beer.
pick some up because this is...
Yeah.
And
it's better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think I was going to like it.
Liquor stores are still closed, right?
Yeah.
Go to your local breweries, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Local breweries, man. Full Beard Brewing, Timmins. And if you want it in Cap, call the brewery. They'll deliver it.
They deliver it right to your house.
They'll make it happen, man.
Yep. So thanks to John and Benji and the whole team at Full Beard
100%.
for that. And also a huge thank you to our episode sponsor. I should have this up, but I don't. Obviously we talked about them a few times, but Liqueur Motor Sales, which is my place of business.
Yep.
I have 2 Fords in the yard. Are you in the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? Look no further than Liqueur Motor Sales in Kapuskasing and in Hearst. Liqueur Motor Sales has a large selection of pre-owned vehicles available for delivery today. At Liqueur Motor Sales, we don't only pride ourselves on customer service, we are customer service. Visit liqueurmotorsales.ca. Liqueur Motor Sales, big enough to serve you, small enough to care. That's a great jingle. Big enough to serve you, small enough to care. Liqueur Motor Sales.
I think I work there too, cause with all the amount of. How do you have balloons, man? I know. I think I work there now because the amount of vehicles I buy.
You might.
Yeah, I pay your salary.
Wow.
Wow.
Hope you enjoyed the episode.
All right.
We'll see you guys next week.
Talk soon.